Welcome to Healthy Buzz, the podcast for women who are craving honest answers in a supportive community. Hosted by Brandy Homerding, a certified nutrition therapy practitioner who believes your body isn't broken, but the narrative around women's health is. Each week, we're diving deep into holistic health topics, challenging the one-size-fits-all approach, and empowering you to trust your own informed intuition. Get ready to feel seen, supported, and seriously informed. This is Healthy Buzz, where collaboration meets unfiltered transparency in women's health. Hi, everybody. I am so excited to introduce to you Danielle Kepics for today's episode. It's going to be spicy, so buckle up because we are going to talk about a lot of really fun topics for you. So Danielle has a really unique background for what she has become known for as a unicorn in her women's health space. After 10 years of practicing conventional medicine, she shifted her focus and pursued a certification as an FDN-P, where she now helps women and some men optimize their health through lifestyle and a deep dive into their health. She's also a certified fertility educator, master's level mental health therapist, PNL 1 certified nutrition coach, and in a prior life, she spent 5 years as a personal trainer. So you can really see where that unicorn term comes from. She specializes in helping women understand where they are, plus helps to guide them in the steps that they need to take to be where they want to be and feel the way that they want to feel. She is the founder of her company, Empowered Mind and Body, as well as a co-founder of the Unconventional Collaborative, a virtual mastermind to help anyone in the health and wellness space elevate their practice. She is a human of authentic chaos, a lover of dogs, all things outdoor, movement, and an Enneagram 8, Wing 7, plus an avid trip planner. We have a lot in common. She perpetually is in search of optimal health, and what she can tell you is that the definition will continually change through the seasons of life. So welcome to the show, Danielle.
Hi, I'm so stoked you were asking for guests. I'm like, yes, I'll come and talk. I love being on other people's podcasts.
Yes, and Danielle and I actually met in the Unconventional Collaborative. I've been part of her membership for a year and a half or so.
You were like one of the OGs. Did you find me through Nicole?
Yes, through Nicole Jardim. And she had posted something, I think on Instagram, actually, that maybe you had commented. I'm not even sure. It went down a rabbit hole for sure and started following you on Instagram. And I'm like, this lady's level of spice matches my level of spice. So I gotta be in the same network here and figure out how we can collaborate on things.
Yeah, 100%. We keep the spice level real, like where you see like the romantasy authors like rate the books with, I don't know if you're into like the romantasy stuff, but they like rate the spice by like the peppers. And I'm like, I am like a spice level 12 out of 10 all of the time. I'm in my follicular phase right now, but if you catch me in my luteal phase, it's like extra spicy.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'm luteal phase right now, so we're on opposite ends. So this will be a nice little balance. Everybody will love it. But one thing that Danielle and I both really see at the same level is how women are feeling their body. And so one of the topics I do want to touch on with you, Danielle, is about how should people feel their body? Because so many times women are not eating enough. And what impact is that having on them and their health and specifically their hormones?
Yeah, so I'll start with the first question, which you're saying, like, how should people be feeling their bodies, right? And I feel like this is very individual, but it's also not. And, I'm not a registered dietitian. I do have nutrition education. So I always like to like preface with that, right? That there are people who know a lot more than me about this. And there are a lot of people who know a lot less about me than nutrition. But for me, in my opinion, I don't want to say like what people shouldn't be doing, but that's like where my brain is going right now. The intermittent fasting, the coffee for breakfast, the 1,800 calories, and so many women that come to me are like, oh, but I'm eating 1,800 calories. I'm like, you're lifting weights 5 days a week. You have 2 children that you're chasing over. You're working a full-time job. Your stress levels are through the roof. Like 1,800 calories is not supporting the amount of stress that you're putting into your bucket. And we need more input, right? So the way that I like to explain nutrition to women is that it's literally like your bank account. Calories are an energy source, right? Like for anybody who's taking any type of chemistry course in their life, you remember that like joules, right? Oh my God, like it just gives me PTSD. But joules are energy. Another way that we measure that is calories. Like quite literally, I remember a professor explaining this to me. And if you are not putting energy in, you cannot put energy out, right? And so many of the women that we both see are the hair loss, the period problems, the gut problems. Like they're different systems of the body, but they're sending the same message as to like, I'm not functioning properly. And that all comes down to an energy source problem. Like if your body and your mitochondria, right, your mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell, if they do not have the things that they need in order to make your cells function, like you're going to have dysfunction. So one of the things that I like to tell women is like, listen, if you are a woman of primary reproductive age, which means you still have a regular menstrual cycle, probably, so this is a blanket, as close to a blanket statement as I will get, you probably need to be closer to 2,500 calories a day than that 1,800 calories that you're eating, at least in the I'm not talking to a sedentary population. I'm talking to women who are, they are working hard in the gym. They're not going in there like, oh, I have my 3-pound weights. No, like they've got big weights on the bar and they're running hard or they're CrossFitting or whatever the case is. So, and if people are having trouble with that, like a framework that I in general like to start with is 3 meals a day, 2 snacks. Because a lot of the women that come to me too, they're like binging, they have these cravings. And I'm like, listen, you're not binging, you're hungry. Right. And so I almost guarantee that if you are someone who's listening to this, who you are struggling with emotional eating, binging, cravings, salt cravings, sugar, oh, I have a sweet tooth that I just can't stop. Like, I promise you, you're not eating enough. And that is literally the problem. If you eat 3 meals a day, and by meals, I mean PFCC, protein, fat, carb, color at every meal, and 2 snacks, like you will stop that behavior. It might take you a couple of weeks because those are the neural pathways that are ingrained in your head right now, but it will stop. I've not had that framework not work with people who have been struggling with that behavior previously.
I know what somebody's going to say. Well, I'm not the person that is lifting weights 5 days a week, and I'm not the person who is running for a half marathon or doing CrossFit, so I don't fit into the category of needing that many calories.
I mean, so this can slightly vary by individual, right? So like not everybody is cut from the same cloth. Like, and I would say that, you know, this depends on like, is this still someone who's active and getting their steps and maybe still going to the gym and like doing some kind of strength training? You probably still need more than you think that you do. And so many women, I think like they're not even intentionally dieting, but they are trying to eat as little as possible. Like their hunger scares them, right? Like, I don't understand. Oh my God, I'm hungry again. Yes, like you need to feed your body. I would need a little bit more specifics with that. And I still think that person probably needs more than they think that they do or that they are already consuming. Like, period, the end, if you are having dysfunction in your body, you are probably not fueling it correctly. And there could be other issues like going on, right, with like absorption and gut health and other things that like maybe you're eating, but you're just not getting the nutrients. And that's like another level of conversation that, I mean, we can have. But I would still challenge that person to say, like, you probably need more calories than you think you do, you know. And metabolism really doesn't slow down until after the age of 60. People think like, oh, no, your metabolism didn't slow down. You did. Like, that is the problem. Like, you are not moving as much, you know, and we overestimate how much we move and how much we sleep and things like that. The average person thinks that they sleep like in another 90 minutes unless they're monitoring it with like some kind of device, right? Which is, again, another conversation of like, should we all be doing this and what should we be paying attention to? And then like the steps too. So like, you know, people think like, oh yeah, I'm taking like 8,000 steps a day and they're moving like 3. Mm-hmm. So I'm a firm believer that a lot of women need much, much more than they are consuming regardless of activity level.
Hey, Healthy Buzz listeners. Are you feeling like you're constantly struggling to hit your protein goals? Like, you know, you should be getting more protein for energy, muscle support, and overall well-being, but you're not quite for sure how to make that happen without sacrificing flavor or other important nutrients. I get it. That's why I created the High Protein Power Plan, a delicious and easy to follow 7-day meal plan designed specifically for women who want to effortlessly reach 130 grams of protein or more every single day. Now, this isn't about bland chicken and broccoli. Inside, you're going to find mouth-watering recipes packed with flavor and designed to perfectly balance your macros. Think vibrant salads with protein powerhouses, satisfying bowls packed with flavor and nutrients, and easy dinner ideas that make hitting your goals a breeze without feeling deprived. This plan takes the stress out of high-protein eating and helps you feel your absolute best. Ready to finally unlock the power of high protein without the guesswork? Head on over to bcw.bcollectivewellness.com high protein recipes to download your high protein power plan today. That's bcw.becollectivewellness.com/high protein recipes. It's time to nourish your body, feel amazing, and discover how delicious hitting your protein goals truly can be. So then how do you explain to somebody that their underfueling is potentially making them not lose weight?
So this is a term that is called metabolic adaptation. I like to explain one concept first, and then I'll kind of go into the metabolic adaptation. So your body has a to-do list of what it needs to get done every day, just like you have a to-do list for people who are watching this on film. Like, it's chaos, right?
Yep.
So you have a to-do list and you prioritize, like, okay, like, what deadlines do I have? What needs done now? What clients am I seeing today, right? Your body does the same things with the energy that you give it. And it's going to prioritize the vital functions that keep you alive, like the pH balance of your blood, right? If that gets slightly skewed, like, you're fucked and you're in the ICU. And please stop with the alkaline water. I can't with that either.
Right.
Like, I just can't, so your pH, your heart rate, your oxygen, converting oxygen into carbon dioxide, those types of things are going to be first. Things that are going to be lower on that list are like ovulation and hair growth and pooping every day and your thyroid function. So if you're putting food into your pie hole, energy into your pie hole, your body is prioritizing what it needs to do, right? And so if my baseline, and I'm just using a round number, this is not dead accurate, but like if my baseline is 2,500 calories and I'm only giving it 15, like, it's not going to do, eventually, this isn't going to happen like if you have one day off, right? But if you for months have been doing this, your body's going to stop doing those things at the bottom of the list, or it's going to do them not very well. Period problems, hair loss, gut function, your thyroid gets fucked, which then causes like that weight gain and metabolic adaptation, right? So that's the one concept of like, my body has a to-do list. So the longer that we diet, your bodies are smart and they're efficient. It's like for entrepreneurs, like 1 month, I'm just throwing numbers out there, I might make $10,000, but what if I only make $2,000 the next month? Like, you have to learn to adapt to that financial income difference, right? And you're probably gonna have to pull from your savings. That's a big difference. I'm just throwing numbers out there.
Right.
But eventually what's going to happen is your body's going to be like, oh, like, this bitch is she giving me poverty macros, so we going to do poverty work kind of thing, right? So your body just learns to function as well as it can on that low of calories. And so we have maintenance calories, deficit calories, and surplus calories, right? So your maintenance calories shift because your body learns to adapt to that. So if you've been dieting for over a year and you've been at 1,600 calories, guess what your new maintenance is? And it was probably higher before. And then you're like, oh, fuck, I can't lose weight at 1,600 calories, so I'm going to drop it down to 14. So that's how that number gets lower and lower, and people aren't losing weight because they just keep fucking themselves, for lack of better statement. The lower that we bring those calories, the less we can do with that energy, right? So that's when we get all of that dysfunction. It's like, the less money you bring in, the less fun stuff you can buy, the less vacations you can take. And it's like, if you're starving yourself, your body's not going to be like, sounds like a great time to procreate a life. Let's ovulate. Like, fuck that shit. We're out, So that's really the best way that I describe that. And I have a really good picture description of this. That's like an inverse proportional lines of years that you've spent dieting and what your metabolism is doing. So just chronically dieting is really fucking people up. Like, I could really go on about that, but I think that gives a pretty clear picture of like what we were talking about with why is that happening.
Yeah. And to add to that too, so when people are reaching, they're like, I can't fucking do this anymore. I'm starving. I'm a hangry bitch.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to eat. I'm going to overindulge. Your maintenance level is way down here at that like 1,400, 1,600 calories. And then if you're like, fuck it, I'm going to have 2,000 calories consistently. Yes, you're going to gain weight.
Yes.
Because your metabolism has not caught up. Yeah, you need to. It's like this fine tune of this reverse dieting where we slowly increase your calories, give your body, teach it that it's safe. We're no longer in that like feast and famine state. It was an adaptation that our bodies needed to do when we were primal, right? When we 100%. Had to hunt and gather for our food. We don't have to do that anymore. We have the grocery store right down
the street. Go to the grocery store.
Right? Go to a drive-thru, order Uber Eats, right? We have food so readily available, but our body doesn't realize that our food is readily available.
It's called an evolutionary mismatch.
Right. I like to also, when I'm describing that like to clients, talk to them about like a campfire. When you have a campfire, you have consistently throw a log on the fire to keep it burning. Just like with your metabolism, you have to consistently give it food to keep it burning. If you restrict, it's still going to burn, but it's not going to burn efficiently. If you smother it, put too much on too quickly, it's not going to be able to burn efficiently. So there's learning how to continuously recognize those hunger signals, which is scary as fuck for some people, and
Yeah.
actually feeding your body.
Yeah. And it's funny, I was having a conversation with my friend Melissa. She's a dietitian. She just came to talk to the collaborative, but somebody like left in her question box, like, I think it's fucking bullshit. There's no way that you eat as much as you do and have a BMI of 22. And she's like, yeah, the fuck there is, because I've not dieted. I've not treated my body like shit. And it's efficient. Like, I eat enough protein. I lift weights, and she's not someone who also thinks that the BMI is like the end all be all or anything. And neither am I.
Yep.
But it was just interesting because I like wrote something back and I was like, feel free to share publicly just to piss off the masses, because it's like, besides a little blip on the radar where I got into macro counting, like I'm 41 and I've in general not restricted myself from food. I'm not afraid of my hunger signals, and my blood work looks great. I feel good. I just had a DEXA scan and I have a great body composition. Like, the way that women are talked to about food and fueling their bodies, it's so messed up and it makes me so mad. And the biggest things that I see in my clientele is you need to quit your toxic job and you need to eat more food. And people are like, but I'm eating 2,000 calories. And I'm like, you're training for a half marathon and you're lifting 3 days a week and you have 3 children at home and you work. It's just not enough for most people. That's why your ferritin is in the dumpster and why your thyroid looks like a disaster and your period and you're losing your hair. Like, hair loss is like a big stress thing, right? Like, you just start to shed in that telogen phase. Your body kicks into that sooner and you're just like, it's everywhere. But yeah, you got to fucking feed your face, man.
Yeah. And I think too, when we're thinking about calories, just in general, it's a unit of energy, but the nutrients in the calories also matter too. Like, full disclosure, like I shared this on my first podcast episode, like I was definitely a low calorie girl in my early college days, right after I graduated. 100-calorie snack packs and lean cuisines and lean pockets, right? All this processed food that was low calorie and definitely not providing my body with any of the nutrients it needed because it was so processed.
Right. No, totally. I think that that's a really important point. And the other thing I think to make with this is like, it's a lot harder to get the nutrients you need out of a 1,500 calorie diet as opposed to 25. You just have more opportunity to get those nutrients. And, I see nutrient deficiencies all the time. It's just, they're all over the place. And so giving yourself more opportunity to get the nutrients to power and fuel your cells with what they need to function the way that they do, so that your entire body functions the way that it needs to function, is like, I don't know, it's like, it's a non-negotiable for me. And I just, there's a lot of bullshit out there regarding nutrition advice. Like, your favorite fitfluencer who is, eating 2,200 calories and lifting 5 days a week and running 4 days a week also, I feel some kind of way about it. And listen, I push my body really hard, but I just, we very easily in our culture mistake discipline for body dysmorphia.
Yep.
And I've looked that way. I've been at 6% body fat. I've had that body and I do not want to do the work to keep up with it. And I don't want to feel the way that I need to keep up with it. It's not worth it. You're not sleeping. You lose your period. You lose your, there's so many things that happen when you stay like that for too long. So I could go on for a while about that one.
I want to challenge you because I know what somebody's going to say is like, well, with nutritional deficiencies, I can just take a supplement. I can take a multivitamin. I can take some B vitamins.
It's not the same as what you get from nature. It's just not. You can do that. And, that's why I hate vegan diets. I do. Like, no one will ever convince me that eating vegan is healthier for you than eating a balanced omnivore diet. And I don't mean carnivore. I think we need all of the things, right? But it's just not the same. Like what nature provides and what a bottle provides is not the same. And there are things that like people cannot help. Like vitamin D deficiency is rampant. I think I saw statistics like 96% of the country is fucking vitamin D deficient. I was like, oh God.
But yeah, insurance will not cover a vitamin D.
Oh, don't start me on the vitamin D test, man. It's fucking bullshit. There was actually, Laura had a client who asked her doctor for a vitamin D test, and they said, you tell your dietitian that this is not part of the USPTF task force. It's not indicated, and it hasn't been for a long time, and she should know that. Do you know what vitamin D is important for, Carla? Do you? Like, dude, having optimal vitamin D levels reduces your chances of breast cancer, colon cancer, fibroids, period issues, immune system, gut dysfunction. But like, let's not run the test because this 4-letter whatever agency told me that I don't need to. Like, do you have a brain? Carla, you don't have a brain. Anyways, my whole point is to say, like, there is a time and a place for supplementation, but I always, with my people, try to give them foods that are rich in those things first. And we may also, in conjunction, supplement. I don't want to demonize that. And people think like, oh, I can't take a supplement. Like, I came back low on my red blood cell magnesium again. So now I'm towing the line of like not shitting myself and taking enough magnesium. So it's been fun over here. And magnesium is one of those things, it's just hard to get from food. It just, I eat my leafy greens, I eat dark chocolate, pumpkin seeds, but like, as I said, I'm burning the candle hard. And so, I'm like, do I need to pull back? Like maybe, like, I am evaluating that stuff, but like, I feel really good and my performance is great. I'm sleeping fantastic for the most part. Like, so it's a fine line. So I think there's a time and a place for supplementation, but it's not ever to be like, oh, I can just supplement. There's no problems. Nothing to see here. That's not the attitude you want to take.
You can't supplement yourself out of a diet or a lifestyle if you're not, like you said, quitting this toxic job. So many of my clients have been like, what about a sabbatical? Can we talk about a sabbatical, or can we look at like getting a new job? Like, we need to get some boundaries in place.
This is actually a conversation that I would really like to go into, because after I laugh like this when I know I'm like really going to get into it.
It's going to get real spicy, everybody.
It's going to get good. So I worked in conventional medicine for like 8.5, 9 years-ish. And now that, I work for myself and I have been through several evolutions of my business already, I don't think we're meant to work outside of the house like that. And I don't mean that in a way that like I don't have a workout. Like, I'm one of the hardest working individuals that I know. I have that ability. I don't want to like that anymore. And I don't know if that's an age thing. And I work very hard for the people that I serve. And, in the work that Laura and I do for the collaborative, that's not part of, what I'm talking about. But women were told that they could do it all, and they did, and they went and got autoimmune disease.
Yeah.
I don't want to say like women aren't meant to like, that's not the opinion I hold. I think for all people, men and women, fuck Henry Ford for the 40-hour work week. That was a dumbass idea. Like, somebody took that and ran with it, and now it's just like the standard that we all follow like little ducklings.
But I will say a lot of people are working more than 40 hours a week.
Oh, 100%. I had a woman who she was contracted for, not contracted, but she was a full-time employee, 40 hours a week, not getting overtime, but she was working like 60 hours a week. And I literally asked her, I said, why are you working for free for 20 hours a week? And she was like, well, there's work to be done. I'm like, no. I'm not talking logistical. I'm talking on an existential level. Like, why are you allowing yourself to do that? I never. Nope. Goodbye. No, just like not happening. So I do think that is also part of the problem, right? Is this like bring your work home culture, right? Like, we didn't have that 20 years ago. Like, people weren't bringing laptops home and work.
We didn't have work from home.
No, I just talked to a gal. She did a package with me, and she's like, but I'm the only person who tell somebody to figure it out. You should not be getting phone calls when you are taking PTO. And I think just like we have this culture of I need to be a slave to my job, or I'm a bad employee, or I'm going to get fired, or you could leave tomorrow and no one would care. I don't mean that to be disrespectful to people. When I put in my 2 weeks notice as a physician assistant with all the things that they had put into me with DEA license and this and that and everything, they were like, good luck.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
See ya.
I remember my last day at the hospital too. It was very like, kind of just like, bye. I left early.
No one gave
Nobody,
a fuck.
no, it was like nothing.
Your toxic job that you are compromising your health for does not give a fuck. And so you need to prioritize yourself and your health. And, you know, like I was saying, I've been through several evolutions of my business. And then with the collaborative growing, it's changed like the amount of work that I need to be doing with my one-on-ones and things like that. And there is no amount of money. If someone was like, I will pay you $1 million if you will go to do a 40-hour job a week, like, no. I also just can't imagine working for someone else at this point. Like, I'm shocked it took me like 38 years of my life from when I started my business to realize that I was meant to be an entrepreneur.
Yep.
I want more women to like take control of their lives and their health. And I don't think that everyone is meant to own a business either. I really don't. Like, I don't think that everyone has that, I don't know, whatever it is that takes to like do this work. Like, some people need that direction and they need oversight, and they're a better worker than they are a
better employee,
like the person who's running the show. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I do think that there are a good number of women out there who probably are better as an entrepreneur than they are as employees, and they've never thought about it.
Yeah. Something that I see show up with a lot of my clients is like they put so much of their self-worth into their job. And like, if I also start creating boundaries, then that means I am not a reliable employee and they're not going to look to me towards the things. And so I'm going to keep burning the candle at both ends. And I'm like, we got to set boundaries. You have to close your laptop. I don't want that laptop being opened again at 8:00 at night and then you're on it till 11. I'm like, who's working at that time? And they're like, well, my boss is on the East Coast and I'm on the West Coast. And so there's time differences. And like, I'm like, I don't care. I don't care.
No.
I need you to close the laptop and not open it again. You set the standard. You put your Slack on away and you don't check it. And you turn off all of these notifications on your phone. I silent everything. No notification should be coming up on your phone except for something that is like urgent, family related. We have got to set boundaries.
Yeah. The only people who benefit from you not having boundaries or for having too porous of boundaries are the people who are taking advantage of you. That's it. I don't know. That was never a problem for me. Like, I'm not a people pleaser. I know there's a lot of recovering people pleasers out there. That's a term or something now. Was never an issue for me, and I don't understand it. But I also think that it's something that like really someone should get into therapy about and learn how to set some boundaries, because I saw the statistic, and I think I shared this in the collaborative. People who leave their toxic job extend their life by more years than people who quit smoking.
Wow.
Like, let that sink in, people. Like, that's wild.
Wow, that's crazy.
Like, literally inhaling carcinogens into their body. Your toxic job is taking more years away from your life than if you were smoking a pack a day, Sandy. So close your fucking laptop.
And I mean, this is also hindering your healing process when we're that stressed out and we're not like, because a lot of the clients that I work with are not only stressed, they're also not sleeping. And these things are essential to have your healing process. You're going to forever have gut problems. You're going to forever be bloated. You're forever going to be constipated if we are not sleeping and we are not dealing with your stress.
Fucking sign. If you are depleted and dysregulated, you ain't fixing shit. I don't care what protocol you use. I don't care how much money you throw at it. I don't care if you hire the best, most advanced, original OG fucking functional medicine person out there. I don't care who you hire, what you do. You cannot build a foundation on straw. You just can't. It's not going to work well. And so for me, and I think for you and a lot of other people in the collaborative, the first thing that we're doing is like, where are we with our stress? Like, are you eating enough food? You know, I have a gal right now who is struggling with like doing some of that nutrition stuff. And I've long explained this, like, I think that this is a skill set, like learning how to be healthy is a skill set. And we're not going to get it perfect right away. And I think that that's really important for people to know and understand. And I think it's also really important for practitioners to know and understand, like, hey, like, you've got this down and it's like second nature to you, but it's just not to other people. Think about like if you were to pick up and try and play the guitar today, if you don't play the guitar, like you're going to have a hard time finding a G chord. Right? You know what I mean? Like it's just going to be difficult. And I didn't run a GI map on that girl first. We did some blood work. We've got some nutrient deficiencies, but there was no way that she was going to go through that gut protocol and be successful if those things are not nailed down. So the fancy protocols on dysregulated and depleted individuals, it's not going to go very far.
And I will say too that with some of my clients, they get, I guess, impatient, maybe a little frustrated that we aren't moving quicker through their protocol and the process. But I'm like, we got to work on these foundations first. We can't skip forward, because if you don't have the foundation, it's going to crumble. Just like you said, you can't build a foundation on straw.
Yeah. And I mean, to those people who may or may not be listening, like, how long did you have these fucking problems for? You didn't come to me with these problems for 3 months. Like, I'm seeing people decades, years, if not decades. And so I have a 3, 6, or 12-month option to sign on to work with me. And I'm honestly thinking about like getting rid of, people don't take the 3-month. Everybody really takes the 6-month. But it's just, there's very few people who that 3-month plan is appropriate for, because healing takes time. Your cells to do their thing, like, it's possible you can fix these things, but that overnight mindset, or even like 2 weeks, you need to trash it. People need to get rid of that mindset, and you need to really fall in love with the process and expect a 6 to 12 month timeline to really feeling better. And like, listen, people, I always tell people when like during a consult call with me, like, my average person has 25 to 40% improvement from appointment 1 to appointment 2, which is about 2 to 2.5 months of working with me, which I think is pretty solid. So if people listen to me and they do the things that I ask, like, we see the movement. And again, consistency, not perfection also. So like, I ask for people to do those things 80% of the time, right? And the sicker you are and the longer this has been happening, like, it's a slower process, and that's just normal. I don't care how good of a practitioner you are.
Yeah. So that kind of brings up one of the things I know you like to talk about as well is the biohacking, and skipping over these basics and going straight to like, I need to biohack everything.
Yeah, like, I'm not going to eat breakfast, but tell me what red light to buy. Girl, sit down. Yeah, Laura and I actually, we're making, this will be out probably later than when we launch it, and the launch might even be done, but we're launching some merch that says basics over biohacking. So yeah, because we've been saying it so much. But yeah, like, these things are fine. Like, listen, I use sauna, I use red light, I use the PEMF mats. I also meditate, and I don't touch my phone first thing in the morning, and I eat enough calories, and I make sure that if I'm going to cold plunge, that my nervous system is in a good place, that like it can handle the stress of that to get the benefits from the cold plunge, right? So there's just all of these things that people want to be doing, but they're still like drinking alcohol on a weekly basis. And I'm like, cool, like, glad you sauned 3 times this week, and then you just refilled on those toxins. Like, you just filled that gas tank right back up. And to me, the basics are really, are we eating enough food? Are we getting enough nutrients? Are we spending time in the sunlight? Like, the sun is magical.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
did you touch
it
grass?
is so important for your circadian rhythm. Yeah. Did you put your feet in the ground today? Are you lifting heavy shit? Are you picking it up and putting it back down? A couple of times a week? Are you getting your 8 to 10K steps in? Like, we don't need to go crazy. Like, I don't know if you listen to these guys or if you know them, but I love the Mind Pump guys for a lot of reasons. They have a really, really popular podcast. And Adam, one of the hosts, always says, like, we want to be doing, like, what is the minimum that we need to be doing to get the maximum effects, right? So like, what are those things that we need to be doing that gets us like 85 to 90% of those health benefits? Like, we don't need to be running marathons or even half marathons or any races at all, right? We don't need to be deadlifting 3 times our body weight. Like, those things are cool, but like, and there's also a point when we're talking about that stuff where the continuum of health and performance sways, right? So like, when we're trying too hard for performance, our health really suffers. And I think that's an important part too. But are we touching the grass? Are we getting sunlight in our eye holes? How much time are we spending on our phones and on social media and listening to the news? That's a big one that I've been talking to my clients about, because so many people just consume so much fucking news. And I'm like, turn off CNN, turn it off, like, turn off Fox News, turn it off, unfollow it. Getting good quality sleep, that's number 1 for me. Like, if you are not getting good quality sleep, everything else goes to hell in a handbasket. It's really not complicated. Move your fucking body, build some fucking muscle, have strong bones, eat your food,
drink some water,
get your sleep, lick a vegetable, do those things consistently, and like, honest to fucking God, it solves a lot of problems for people.
And I will say too, whoever's listening to this might be like, ooh, I'm doing none of those things, so now I have to do all those things. Pick one thing, master it, add another, master it, because too much too fast, your body is going to freak out. And
You're going to get the fuck it's.
You're going to, about 3 weeks in, you're going to be like, fuck this. I'm going to rebel and I'm not going to do any of this. I'm going to go back to old habits.
100%. Yeah. A big one for me is sleeping with the phone outside of the room. Get it out. Get it out. There's no reason for you to have your phone inside your room when you're sleeping. Just don't.
Yep. Love that. Let's talk about how all of this is then like affecting a period, but then also let's talk about birth control, because I think this is a really misunderstood topic. And so many women have like this aha moment when we have a conversation. I'm like, let's talk about what a period really is and like what happens when you're on a pill versus not, or any other type of contraceptive.
Yeah. So in order to have a true period, you have to ovulate. What the birth control pill does is, I like to say it this way to people because it gets their attention. The birth control pill is chemical castration.
Wow.
Okay. We all know what castration is. It gets the point across, right? You understand what the birth control pill does. I'm not wrong, right? We are literally severing the connection from our brain to our ovaries, which is the connection that we need to have in order for our ovulatory cycle to happen. If you are not ovulating, that bleed that you are having is a withdrawal bleed. The beautiful bodily processes that need to happen in order for us to have a period are not happening, and you are also not reaping the benefits of the hormones being produced. The hormones in your birth control pill are synthetic. They are not the same as what your body produces. They are progestins, ethinyl estradiol. That is not the same. And I've seen osteopenia in 30-year-olds because they've been on birth control for 15 years. So there's a lot of risks involved with it. And there's a lot of, problems with the birth control pill. I think this isn't pill related, but I think there's like some class action lawsuit. Don't quote me on this. I think I saw some big lawsuit going on with Depo-Provera because people are finding brain masses in women who spent a long time on the Depo shot.
Wow.
And listen, I am not someone who thinks like, oh, no one should be on the birth control pill. I love that we have it as an option. I think it should be available. I think that the informed consent around it sucks a huge fucking dick. You might get a blood clot, but no one has that. And it's like, what about the gallbladder issues and nutrient deficiencies? It's a class 1 carcinogen for liver cancer. Class 1 carcinogen. How come that's not,
like, written in great bold letters on the very front of the package? Right. Nobody reads the package insert.
Right. Like, no. I could cover myself on that thing like when I go camping. It's like, I feel like it's like the warning that's on cigarettes, like might cause cancer. Like it should be in that classification, right? Depression, anxiety, weight gain, change in how you view your partners and the partners that you pick. If you have not read Your Brain on Birth Control by Dr. Sarah Hill, go fucking pick up a copy and then run to get off of your birth control after you read that. Because to me, that book is true informed consent. Like Sarah Hill did the Lord's fucking work with that book, in my opinion. Let me put it this way. If you are someone who is listening to this and you're like, what is this fucking bitch talking about? Would you ever consider giving a pill to a man that shut down their natural testosterone production? No, that pill wouldn't go past phase 1 trials. There's no fucking way that medication would make it. The birth control pill is the only medication out there that shuts down a natural bodily process that should be happening. And I just want women to think about that before they're making decisions, before they're sitting here maybe being like, I'm on the birth control pill. Listen, I'm not telling anyone what to do. I am a facilitator, not a dictator in people's health. If you're like, I don't fucking care, cool, that's on you. Live your fucking life. I don't care. It's not affecting me. But for the hundreds of millions of women out there who their eyes are being open to this, who are like, I had no idea, I'm so fucking mad about it. And for myself, like I use the pill, I use the Mirena, and we don't know. Jolene Brighton says all the time, this is the longest running trial experiment in the history of medication trials. Like it is just, we had no idea what this would do to women. It was meant to be used between pregnancies, not for 30 fucking years.
Right. Yeah.
And then we have these women who were put on it at 13 because they had an ovarian cyst, which like the birth control pill can cause ovarian cysts. I had a patient when I worked in conventional medicine. She was 13 when she was put on the birth control pill. She never had a natural period. 20 years later, she's trying to come off, and I still don't know if she had a period.
Wow. Yeah.
Ever had a natural period. It's like, I have this question of like, first of all, fucking why? Second of all, we're continuing to suppress that connection. I say like that connection between your brain and your ovaries should be like smooth running Wi-Fi, 5G, like Elon Musk Starlink shit, right? Yeah, like whatever. And when we're suppressing that before it even starts, like, are we completely like destroying the ability of that connection to even happen? Or like the girls who are put on it after a couple of periods because, oh, they're hard, they're painful. Oh, here's the birth control pill at 14, even though you're not having sex.
Yeah. And our brains are not developed until we're 25.
Dude, that also, like, what is it doing to brain development in teenagers? Like, I have so many questions, so many different directions that I could take this, but I really just want women to be informed about the decisions that they're making around shutting down a natural bodily process. And, you know, we could go more existential with that conversation too, where it's like, you know, what are women just expected to be like hot and ready, like Little Caesars all the time so that they can have sex whenever a man wants without a condom? Like, there's like a whole other like side to that conversation.
Well, contraception is not only a woman's responsibility. There's two people involved in this. So we have to explore what are the non-hormonal options that can also be used. Barriers, you know, condoms, diaphragms, sponges, things like that. I don't even know what is all used anymore these days, but
I know.
But also understanding that there's only a 6-day window in which conception can occur. It's not any single day. You know, this is interesting because I had the conversation with my mom recently about like, we never talked about sex or periods or anything like that in my house growing up. And I'm like, so my mom was like, well, I didn't never have that conversation with her mom either. I was like, so what did you do for like, if you wanted to have a baby, like, what did you do? She's like, we were just told have sex with your husband and you would have a baby. I'm like, right. Yep. Yes, you have to have sex with your husband in order to have a baby, but there's a window of time in which that happens.
Yeah. You know, I think that's also a big part of the problem. You know, the last time I was at a gynecologist's office, I still saw a sign that said like fertility awareness methods, 28% effective. And I'm like, this is so fucking outdated. This is not the rhythm method. Fertility awareness methods, when they are followed appropriately and they are taught from someone who actually understands what the fertility awareness method is and not like, oh, like don't have sex at ovulation, that like, that's what we're calling at FAM in a gynecologist's office. Don't have sex around ovulation. Like, okay, well, that person doesn't even know when they're ovulating. They think they're ovulating on day 14. Maybe they're ovulating on day 18, you know? We're saying that they're 28% effective, and that's just simply not true. Fertility awareness methods are I think it's like 98.6% effective when performed correctly. And that is as effective as the birth control pill.
Can you explain what fertility awareness method is?
So it's different depending on the method that you're trained in. So there's like the symptothermal method, the Crichton method. I was trained on fertility education, medical management. I was trained on FEM. I kind of combine a couple of things when I talk to women about this. So it's really identifying your fertile window. So you are fertile about 5 days before ovulation, and then, you know, the day after you ovulate, which we usually give a 3-day buffer for to make sure that it's being done, you know, because it's not perfect. So we put on buffers. So abstaining from sex during that time, or using a barrier method, or the pull out method is actually like 80-something% effective. So like, that's actually like, I mean, user dependent also.
Right.
Like your dude better know what they're doing. But yeah, so it's utilizing things like temperature, cervical fluid, which is not the same. Please stop calling it discharge, people. My God, when people say discharge, it's just like, every time that happens, like an angel gets its wings or something. It hurts my soul. Temperature can be put in there, but by the time we see a temperature rise, like we're not fertile anymore. So I like to use temperature to teach women to confirm those signs of like, oh, that was what was happening, not as like a way to like tell someone when they shouldn't be having sex, because it's usually too late by that point when we see like that steady temp rise, right?
I will notice that I will have a temp drop before I have a temp rise too.
That's what happens. That's why the device temp drop is called temp drop.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So typically you'll see like a data point that goes and then right before ovulation. That is correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah. And I mean, really, when we're telling women like it's not effective, what we're really saying to women is you're not smart enough to understand your body. And I just think that's a bag of bullshit. You know, we have studies that show that we've taught this to people in third world countries where there's not a great education system, but that women still understand they're smart enough to understand their bodies. And the other problem is there's not the time in a conventional office to teach these things. I think we're going to see a whole generation of women in 20 years who are I think birth control use is going to go down. I think we're going to see better fertility rates. I think there's going to be a lot of improvements because our generation got royally fucked. So
yeah.
by doctors, by our parents, by whatever the combination. I think, there's just, there's a whole list of things that elder millennials went through.
Yep, 100%. I would say too, when we're thinking about the fertility awareness method, I've had people tell me like, oh, I don't have time to take my temperature in the morning. I'm like, well, there's devices that we can use, right? An Oura ring can be helpful. And I know that like technically you're supposed to have a thermometer in your mouth for 10 minutes. I do too. I still get pretty accurate results because I compare it to what my Oura ring shows as well for temperature. But if you don't have 2 minutes to take a temperature, like,
listen, I don't have time. The first thing that I just want to say to those people is, can you go to your phone, open up the time that you spend on Instagram, and then tell me that you don't have time? I have little tolerance for things like that with people. But I understand that it can be like cumbersome in the morning. And that's why I do recommend Oura for that purpose. I think there's been like 2 times when I haven't had it charged. In 3.5 years, I've had my Oura ring. So I call this like, it's dummy proof, because like this dummy just has to make sure that it's charged, right? And I have 3.5 years of data of what my cycles look like based on temperature. And I think that that is really helpful. And I mean, cervical fluid to me is like really easy too. Like you either feel it or you don't when you wipe. Like, I mean, you're already wiping.
Right.
Like it just.
So let's tell the listeners what they should expect. Like, how does your cervical mucus change throughout your cycle? And when is it the fertile window?
Yeah. So fertile window is going to be 5 days before ovulation and 1 day after. And here's the thing is you can actually get pregnant while you bleed. It's very unlikely, but you still can. So the first part of the menstrual cycle is your follicular phase. And I like to break that up into the menstrual portion and non-menstrual portion, bleeding, non-bleeding, whatever, however you want to fucking say it. So you have your bleeding portion, and then you may have most women have some dry time where they're not observing any cervical fluid. And then a lot of women will start to see like moist is the word that Femme likes to use for like estrogen rising. And then like over time, you'll see that change into like thin, stretchy, slippery, more raw egg white. This is very normal and like actually really great. We want to see like 4 to 5 days of estrogen or high estrogen type fluid at least. And then at some point that will stop. And the last day that you observe that thin, stretchy, raw egg-like cervical fluid is likely the day that you ovulated. And we found that that's about 80% accurate, which is pretty solid. But it's also why we put the 3-day buffer on the end. And different methods use different techniques, right? Like this is not meant to that people will be able to chart after this, right? And then, a lot of women experience just like dryness in their luteal phase. Some women will have like a thick, creamy, it will almost look like they have a yeast infection. I want to know the statistics on how many women like right before their period go into the doctor with like, I have a yeast infection because I have this, and they're just given fluconazole because like women know when they have a yeast infection, right? And it's actually just very normal cervical fluid. Right. I would love to see those statistics. When people would come into me after I got this training, I would say like, where are you in your menstrual cycle, before I ever considered giving them a medication for a yeast infection, because it can really look like that. And women can even have a little bit of itching during that time too, like the day or two before their period. It almost always subsides when menses initiates. So that's like a good little crash course about like what you need to be looking for. There is a website called cervicalmucusproject.org where you can actually see pictures and videos and things. So if people are interested, I recommend it to a lot of my clients who want to know more about this, to go and look at like pictures and things like that and be like, oh, like I do see this or I don't see that.
Wow. Yeah, it's so helpful. And I think when women start to actually understand the normal processes and the difference between cervical mucus and discharge, right? If we're having vaginal discharge that is like smells funky, looks gray or green or things like that, yeah, that's a concern. That's like maybe BV or yeast infection or something going on that needs to be investigated. But normal cervical mucus can be there and it cannot be there. We're looking for that fertile, that like clear, stretchy egg white. And you don't know that it's your last day of having that fertile mucus until it's the next day. And you're like, oh,
nothing happened.
And if you're taking your temperature using your Oura ring, you can see a shift is going to happen too. And you're like, oh, okay, here I am. Because your temperature rises.
That's how I like to use temperature.
Yep, your temperature rises at least 0.2 degrees or more in the luteal phase after ovulation has occurred. And if it's sustained for at least 3 days, then you can definitely confirm ovulation occurred. We can no longer get pregnant until our period. So you technically should have a green light if you're tracking appropriately.
Yes, exactly. Yep. Dead on.
Awesome. Well, Danielle, is there anything else that you want the listeners to know about any of the things that we talked about or we haven't talked about yet today?
I mean, I could go down a whole bunch of rabbit holes, but I feel like this was a lot. It was probably a lot for people's ear holes. So eat your food, get your sleep, get your sunshine. I don't know, like morning sun. I know it's like such the cliche thing, but like the morning sunlight thing has like really made a difference for me. Every time I say morning sunlight, I think about there was like this little blip on the radar of like this scandal with Andrew Huberman. Did you hear about all of that when it was probably like a year ago?
I vaguely remember something about it.
A friend sent me a thing and she was like, oh my God, did you see? And then it like went away so quickly. He was probably like, fuck you guys, whatever. Anyways, like for the first couple of posts on Huberman's site after this, like people were like saying all kinds of stuff about it. And someone was like, I'll never forget this. Someone was like, for anyone arguing in the comments section, may I recommend 15 minutes of morning sunlight? And I was like, oh my. You know, because like that's Huberman's thing. And I was like, that's hilarious. The sun really is your BFF, and stop using shitty chemical sunscreens. Like, I'm not telling you not to wear sunscreen. That's not what I'm saying. But like for your 30-minute daily walk and the only 30 minutes that you spend outside, like you could probably benefit from that sunlight.
And the thing with, you know, the sunlight is our body, that's how we're going to get some vitamin D. The cholesterol in our skin interacts with the sun, and that's how we get that vitamin D. But if we're super covered up or we have the sunscreen on, it's going to inhibit that. Now, we're not saying not to wear sunscreen, but a 20-30 minute walk, you're probably okay.
Yeah. I see people like sometimes like, you know, I'll go to like a trail that's like, you know, it's like a 2-mile thing. Like it's a hike. It's not a hike. And they're like, like with their spray. I'm like, oh my God, I'm out here to smell nature, not your fucking chemicals, Susan.
Yes. Yes.
I can't. So yeah, don't be so afraid of the sun.
And I will say too, the reason why she's beating the drum here about morning sun is for your circadian rhythm. That is helping to your pineal gland is receiving that message. It stops with the melatonin production. Also, seeing a sunset at night is not only beautiful and maybe romantic and super fun, but it also is helping your body to start producing that melatonin. So if you can get outside in the evening hours as well, it's helping the body be like, time to wind down. Let's go to sleep.
Yeah, I went to sit outside last night. For people who don't know, I live in Satan's asshole in the summer, St. George, Utah. And I was like, oh, let me go like read my book outside, like sit in my hammock. And I was like, oh, it's still 100 degrees out. It was 8:30. And I'm like, this is crisp.
No.
I know, it's so awful. I'm like, I'm sweating now. So now I need to go take a cool shower so that I don't go to bed hot. It's a whole production over here.
Yeah. And for those of us that live in the Pacific Northwest and we don't have morning sunlight necessarily year round, get yourself a happy light to help with that circadian rhythm. You need to let your body know that it's daytime, time to be awake versus nighttime.
Yeah. I live like right on the Pacific border. So like in the winter, it will be 8:00 and it's still dark out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard.
I need 2 homes is what I've really decided.
Yep.
That's all. Yep. I need. That's the life that I need to live.
Love it. Love it. All right, Danielle, where can people connect with you? How can they find you? How can they learn more about the services that you provide?
Yeah, so I hang out mostly on Instagram. I have a TikTok account, but I don't think I've ever used it. I'm just Danielle.Kepics, real simple for the everyday humans and practitioners, like coaches, practitioners, trainers, whatever, if you want to come and learn. If you are a coach, practitioner, or trainer at Unconventional Collaborative, that is a business that I co-founded with my registered dietitian bestie, Laura Lagos. She's the Sassy Dietitian. We are a interdisciplinary virtual mastermind for coaches, practitioners, and trainers to help them elevate their practice. So if you're someone who likes other brilliant humans to bounce ideas off of, come join us.
Yeah, amazing. Well, this was so good. Danielle also has a freebie for you guys that we'll put in the show notes for a hormone guide. So make sure you check her out and get her free guide. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Healthy Buzz. I hope this conversation has left you feeling seen, supported, and ready to take the next step in your health journey. Love what you heard? Make sure you subscribe to Healthy Buzz so you never miss an honest conversation. And if you found this valuable, please take a moment to leave a review. I truly appreciate it. For exclusive weekly tips and holistic strategies, be sure to subscribe to my weekly newsletter. The link is in the show notes. Remember, this isn't just nutrition, it's permission to trust your body. I'll catch you on the next episode of Healthy Buzz.